God, why didn't you protect them? Why, when we needed you the most, did you seem to turn away? Why does it feel like you let the ones we love slip through our fingers? Her name was Emily. She had always believed. She had always trusted in God's protection. She had prayed over her children every night, whispering words of peace, of faith, of hope. She had believed that God would keep them safe, that He would shelter them from harm. But then, one night, everything changed. Her youngest, Sarah, was on her way home from a school event, a routine drive. She had kissed her mother goodbye, her laughter still echoing in Emily's heart. But in an instant, tragedy struck. A car crash. It was a night like any other, but that night Sarah was gone. Why, God, why didn't you protect them? Emily couldn't stop asking herself that question as she sat by the hospital bed, holding the hand of a daughter who would never wake up again. Why didn't you protect her? She had prayed. She had believed that God's angels were surrounding her children. She had stood firm in her faith, convinced that God would guard her loved ones. But now, all she had were memories of a life that had been taken too soon. We all ask this, don't we? We all ask when tragedy strikes, when we lose the ones we love, when we face pain so deep it feels like it might drown us. God, why didn't you protect them? Why didn't you answer my prayers? When the pain is unbearable, when the silence of God feels like a wall between us and His love, we wonder, why didn't you protect them? But here's the truth. God's protection doesn't always look the way we expect it to. We pray for safety, for deliverance, for healing, and sometimes those prayers seem unanswered. But that doesn't mean God isn't listening. It doesn't mean He isn't present. It doesn't mean He doesn't care. The reality is, we live in a world broken by sin, a world where death, suffering, and tragedy are part of our existence. God doesn't cause these things. He doesn't want them. But He doesn't shield us from all pain either. God's protection isn't a guarantee that bad things won't happen. His protection is the promise that He will be with us in the pain, that He will hold us even when the storm is too much to bear. We see this in the life of Jesus. He didn't promise us a pain-free life. He didn't promise that bad things wouldn't happen to us. In fact, He told us that in this world we would have trouble. But He also said, "Take heart, I have overcome the world." John 16:33. He didn't protect Himself from the cross. He didn't avoid the suffering that would come. He walked through the pain so that we would never have to face it alone. God is with us in our suffering. He is with us in our grief, in our heartbreak, in the moments when we wonder why He didn't protect those we love. His protection isn't always about keeping us from pain, but about carrying us through it. Emily sat there, holding her daughter's hand, the tears falling silently. She didn't have the answers. She didn't know why God had allowed this to happen, but she did know one thing. God hadn't left her. He was there, in that room, in the heartache, in the silence. He was there, holding her through the pain, and as Emily cried out to God, she heard a whisper in her soul that she didn't expect. It wasn't an explanation. It wasn't an answer to her question, but it was a promise. I am with you always. God's protection isn't always what we expect, but it is always enough. God doesn't leave us to face our pain alone. He walks beside us, He carries us, and He holds us in the darkest moments of our lives. So, when we ask God, "Why didn't you protect them?" we need to remember that God's presence in our pain is more powerful than the absence of our understanding. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. God may not always shield us from the pain we experience, but He will never leave us in it. He is with us, in the pain, in the heartbreak, in the silence, and He will carry us through. Though we don't understand, His love never fails. He is faithful even when we can't see it.